Aloha and welcome back to Live at the Legislature for our Hawaii State Senate segment. I'm Communications Director Jesse Broder Van Dyke, and my guest this week is Majority Leader Jay Kalani English, who represents East Maui, Moloka, Lanai, and Kaho olawe. Majority Leader, you have some of the most remote parts of the state in your district, and both East Maui and Molokai have had positive cases of COVID-19. How are the residents in those areas doing?
They're doing very well. I also represent Upcountry Maui, and we've had a number of positive cases up in Kula and up in Haiku and those areas too. So, I have a very unique district, vast, and I'm dealing with really 3.5 more islands, right? So let's just start with a very quick rundown of the things that are happening. So for East Maui, I'm in the process of putting together what's called an East Maui traffic management plan. Right now, we still have the National Guard that's on the road at the blockade of Twin Falls and then on Ulupalapua on the other side. We are slowly working on a plan to manage traffic and manage what's going in and out of Hana to make it a more pleasant experience for everybody, including the locals. And we're working with, across the board. So it's people at the Haleakala National Park, tour companies, the local groups and organizations. A lot of young people. I've asked a lot of young people to join in this discussion. So we're working on that plan. In the meantime, Waianapanapa State Park remains closed. So yesterday there was an announcement by DLNR that they reopened some of the parks. And what they did in Waianapanapa is that they allowed people transit through the park to get down to Pailoa, which is the beach down there. So the park remains closed, but people can transit through the park to get to the beach, which allows our people in Hana then to go fishing. It's a famous fishing grounds in the old days, so people want to go back there to fish. But the park remains closed, as are the two other Pua'aka'a and Kaumahina state parks along the Hana Highway. Haleakala National Park in Kipohulu is also closed. As we work on the traffic management plan. Then if we go to Upcountry Maui, we have a slow reopening going on there. Haleakala National Park is open to local traffic, and it's open from 9 to 5 every day, excluding weekends. So you can go up there if you're from Maui and you want to go see Haleakala. Now might be a good time. 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, so you'll miss the sunset or sunrise. But it's still worth going up there, without any people, right? Molokai, Lanai, the biggest issues we're facing right now, of course, is the future of food delivery and delivery of items to the island with what's happening with Young Brothers. Should Young Brothers go bankrupt, then we have an interruption of the food service and delivery of food items to Molokai and Lanai. So that's a really big issue, and we're carefully following that. We will go into session at the end of this month and to the beginning of next month, and there'll be a press conference later today to announce the exact dates and times for that. In that session, we will be dealing with the Young Brothers' requests for government support. Right now, I know the executive is really examining their books, the PUC is examining their books, and of course, we're looking at all different plans, including Plan B, which is what happens should Young Brothers go out. Right. As we head into session, Jesse, it's getting really, we're looking at all kinds of measures that need to move ahead. When we recessed the session in March, there were a number of bills that were left where they were. In other words, whatever committee they were in, that's where they were left. We're going to try and pick up on some of them. And I'd like to highlight one that's really germane to us right now, and that's House Bill 285, Senate Draft 2. So this particular bill requires the police departments to disclose to the legislature disciplinary actions and the identity of officers that have been disciplined within the police department. It's a transparency measure. This particular bill is in conference. That means the House and the Senate are negotiating on it. And I hope that given the terrible circumstances with the murder of George Floyd by the police department in North America, really brought to light why we need to move this bill forward. And on that point, I'd like to extend my condolences to the family of George Floyd. Um, Today's his services. I was watching it on TV this morning. Uh, it's a terrible, terrible thing to have your own government kill your people, your own people. Um, and we're very fortunate that in Hawaii, our police departments are very different in this. I can speak for Maui, where they work with the communities. I mean, in Maui, we had protesters outside of the police station. The chief of police took some water out with them, said, "We support you," took pictures with them. It was, Hawaii is a very different view. So our spirit of aloha comes through. I am concerned, however, with the large amount of protests where they were very close to each other. I noticed a lot of them wearing masks. And so I'm just asking, like the governor put out a request today, and I'm reiterating that request, that if you're part of these protests, consider quarantining yourselves for about 14 days just to be safe, because a lot of people did wear masks, but a lot didn't, and they were very close to each other. So just for safety, consider doing that. And with that, the Senate is supporting the idea that the police departments become more accountable across the United States, noting that the police departments in Hawaii have been very good. And so we support what's happening across America for that reform. And again, our condolences to the family of George Floyd.
Absolutely. You are the chair of the Festival of the Pacific, and you convene a regular meeting with a bunch of Pacific Island nation leaders. There's been some talk about doing a travel bubble, maybe, since there's so many cases on the mainland U.S. What's the status on that?
We do, with modern technology, we do a Zoom meeting with Pacific Island leaders, many times heads of state and ministers. And the short of it is that we're talking about maybe starting off with a very simple bubble, Hawaii, Tahiti, because Tahiti did better protocols than we did. And they trust what we did, we trust what they did. So a simple bubble with those islands so that we can move between them back and forth, I think would be a good beginning for creating travel bubbles. So yes, we are looking at the idea of sterile corridors and sterile areas for people to move in. Of course, with testing, with acceptance of tracking devices for checking in daily, things like that.
I'm looking forward to going to Tahiti again and being able to fly inter-island soon. So thank you so much.
Will open on the 16th of this month.
Yeah, June 16th.
We'll have a Hawaii bubble. That'll be the Hawaii bubble interacting here.
That'll be great. And so many people I know want to see their family and friends as well. Okay, unfortunately, we're out of time, but that was a great discussion. And thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being here, Majority Leader.
Thank you.
What are you doing? We have to go. I'm gonna be late for work.
It's Tuesday morning. I gotta record live at the legislature on Alelo. Senate and House leadership discussing what's happening at the state capitol.
So just watch it on the news tonight. Come on, let's go.
Hey, this is like getting the news before it's news. If only I could get this remote to work.
There. Can we go now?
No DVR? No problem. Watch Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. on Channel 49.